Welcome to Illuminating Catholics, podcast of the Diocese of Sioux City. I'm Dawn Prosser, Director of Communications for the Diocese. Together with Carmen Bauer of the Faith Formation Office, we will shed light upon topics of faith in the modern church. Our guests include Catholic clergy, religious sisters, and other experts in their fields to help us understand what's happening in the church today. We will explore issues, even the tough ones, and to find answers to common questions about Catholicism. Thank you for joining us for today's Illuminating Catholics, shedding light to understand the modern church.
Welcome back to the Illuminating Catholics podcast. I am Carmen Bauer, the Director of Faith Formation for the Diocese of Sioux City.
And I am Dawn Prosser, Director of Communications.
Welcome to any first-time listeners, and welcome back to our repeat listeners. We appreciate you all. Our guest for today's episode is Andrea Ault, who will be our facilitator for cycle prep workshops in the diocese in the upcoming weeks for young girls and their mothers. So welcome, Andrea.
Thank you so much, Carmen and Dawn. I'm so happy to be here.
We're thrilled that it worked out for you to be on an episode with us. So when Carmen first told me about this several months ago and the cooperative effort between her offices of Faith Formation, our Catholic Schools office, and also some of the parishes, they're offering these workshops, girls ages 9 to 11 and their mothers. So it was just, to me, really interesting how the church factor fits into that. But it's new for us in the diocese, and you're in Cedar Rapids, so different diocese. So would you just share a little bit about the course and the purpose for the course?
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of take myself back to when I was a fifth grader sitting in my classroom, and we knew it was the day that our teacher was going to tell us about our bodies, and it was so anxiety provoking. And we sat there and we're like, oh my gosh, okay, so what we took away from this is that this process is going to be painful, and it was reduced to just, girls get periods, it's messy, it's not very pleasant, use these pads and then you'll be good to go. Okay, now next. And then they get into, sex education, and that definitely lacked in the department of really helping girls and young men too, because it's important for them to know about their changing bodies, but also their counterpart. It really lacked in magnifying, the dignity of how we were created, by whom we were created, and it just really imprinted in me that something else could really take its place. And so fast forward several years, I got my period, and then my mom didn't quite know how to have that discussion. And God bless her, I love my mom. She really wasn't equipped, and the church does say, parents, you are the primary educators of your children, except that it's just as awkward for parents many times to have that conversation with their own daughters in the comfort of their homes. And so cycle prep really exists as this really beautiful bridge coming from a Catholic lens on helping us understand, yes, the biological sense of the body, but there's also some of that theology woven into it, and supports parents in helping deliver this education very comfortably to their kids. And they don't have to go about it alone. That's where facilitators like me, and or if you decide to do the online version of this course, come into play. We're meant to be a guide, but not the primary as the parents are.
And you talked a little bit about how that aligns with church teaching, especially in respect to young girls. Do you want to expand on that a little bit about how that kind of prepares them maybe for some decisions in the future?
Yeah, so thankfully the workshops that we have done, parents have come back and said, this really opened the door for some of these other harder conversations that we've already began to have, conversations about phone usage and conversations about other things that are going on in their changing bodies. And so it has opened the door for that. In terms of, the church and where that comes into play, there's several different documents that support this idea of subsidiarity within the family. And so this is really, I kind of liken it to if a child needs help with homework, parents are going to be the first to help. But if it's too difficult, they might go to a tutor or go to their school for some support. So that in that respect, the tutor shouldn't push the parents aside. They're just supporting the parents. They're not replacing them. And that's really what that rule of subsidiarity is all about in family education, but also just helping to illuminate the truth and meaning of their children's human sexuality. So it's a really magnificent thing when we can put the right tools into the hands of the parents to have those conversations as guided in these workshops.
When you talked about parents having difficulty having that discussion, and God bless my mom, she handed me a book. That was it. So that being said, so how did you get involved and learn about cycle prep and then get involved and become a facilitator?
It's really by the grace of God. I was struggling with my own cycle issues. I had painful cycles. I had heavy cycles. I was struggling with acne and constantly getting told by different, physicians on the market that, and they don't know any different, but, go on birth control and this is going to help a lot of your cycle symptoms that you're having. But I knew, just from my own Catholic upbringing, this was not something that was really widely accepted in the church, accepted at all, actually. And I didn't really know the source of that until more recently, in the last few years, that I got into just understanding that from the depths of, our Catholicism, but also from the depths of my own heart. But it was easy to say yes to, what the world thought was the best solution for that. I listened to a speaker. I went to our own women's conference here for the Archdiocese of Dubuque, and my good friend now, Jamie Rachi, was talking about the beauty of our femininity and our hormones, and how our hormones actually help us understand the language of our body, and the beauty of charting our cycle, actually using that as a vital sign of health. And actually, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists acknowledge the power of a woman's cycle. And yet, we're still routinely shutting down the cycle. So we're not seeing this as an inherent good. But I was starting to see this as God was revealing it to me as, this is a good. We need to respect the goodness, the truth, and the beauty, and how I created you female. And I'm a mother of 5 children, 4 of which are boys. So some might think I don't really have a lot of business in this arena talking about, periods with young women, except that I kept showing up to adoration. And God placed on my heart this need and desire to share this story with his young daughters. And I thought, 9 to 11, that's really early for having this conversation, isn't it? But that's when it's happening. Puberty is starting to happen at those ages, and getting to our girls at those young ages is really critical, so that they know their beauty and their dignity and their worth from a very young age.
So from there, you got involved, and it's like, hey, how can I help facilitate these? Or
yeah, so I started charting my own cycle, and I thought, this is way too good of information to keep to myself. So I started to learn how to be an instructor myself. So I became a FEM instructor. Along that same time, again, God placed on my heart the need to educate young girls, and younger than we're cycling, just to tell them, how do you prepare for that first cycle? So I carried on with my education and got my certification in hormone coaching from the Fiat Institute, and then also linked up with Pearl and Thistle, Christina Valenzuela, who's the founder of Pearl and Thistle, and it's all about Catholic education for our girls, all about body literacy, from young girls all the way up through perimenopause and beyond.
What a wonderful resource.
Oh, certainly.
Like, where was that 45 years ago?
So looking at the cycle prep workshop, if a mother and daughter register for one of these sessions and they're a little unsure of what to expect, can you just share with us a little bit about the format, what is covered and what might not be covered?
So we start off in prayer. We give thanks to God for the gift of our bodies and the beauty of them. It's always, I've got girls coming in like, oh, why am I here? This is mortifying. We're going to talk about periods. My mom's here, And these are the ones I love, because they come up after and they're like, oh my gosh, that was so cool. Can you send me the link to pads? Like, oh, they're just like gushing with excitement about this, and they're getting ready to go off with their moms and buy whatever products that they might need out in the store. So it's fun. But we start really beyond just the period part. We really talk about what is that special cell that women have that can only be seen with all the cells in the body with the naked eye. And that is the egg cell. It's a special cell that only women have. We talk about how we have these hormones, and we put it in story form. And actually, it's the moms on the edges of their seats like, oh my gosh, I've never been told this in my life. Like, I cannot believe I'm now at the age of whatever, 30, 40, sometimes 50, and grandmothers that are taking their grandkids there. Wow, no one ever told me about this with my body. That's amazing how God designed it. Then we get into, because the vast majority of the time, a baby doesn't happen as the result of the equation of life, and we do not get into sex education with this, but we do acknowledge that special cell from mom, when meeting up with special cell from dad, that can create the equation of life, but the vast majority of the time it doesn't happen. What happens? And that's the bleed. And then we get into the talk of the period, how to help yourself stay, high and dry and clean, and different products that are out there on the market, things that are really easy for girls. Things like, period underwear and period swimsuits, period shorts. I mean, they have so many things on the market these days, and we kind of just lay it all out there. Physically, the girls get to see these things and circle around the table. Then we talk about the culture of care, because it's not only about taking care of ourselves, but also taking care of our sisters in Christ, and how can we be there for them. If the period strikes in the middle of a school day, what do we do? Type of thing.
I love that additional conversation about, the sisters in Christ, because I think they're just so ripe at that age to want to help other people and to be able to feel like they're a part of this bigger sisterhood, I think could be really moving for them and just move them right into action.
Yeah, I was at one of our middle schools, and I saw that they had a little period station in the bathroom, and it was one of the girls that came to the workshop. She's like, I'm taking this back, and I'm going to have a period station in our girls' bathroom, and I know we can get stuff from our nurse, but I'm just going to take care of all my friends. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is excellent. So for moms and daughters who are coming, do you recommend any conversations beforehand, or, how might you frame that for your daughter?
Yeah, there's a really helpful, resource back on Pearl and Thistle. So Pearl and Thistle, this is the founder of this program, Cycle Prep. There's body literacy education for all walks, single women, married couples, but also for parents and their children. But there is something, what parents should know about your daughter's first period. There's a really good resource with that, if that's something people want to check out before they even come to Cycle Prep. When they come, there's going to be a really helpful workbook for afterward. So in terms of having the discussion prior, what I would do with my own daughter is say, Hannah, mom, and you and mom, we're going to go off and we're going to learn about how intensely beautiful your body is that God designed. And some of it is going to blow your mind. Some of it may leave you blushing a little bit, but I promise you, you will be in such awe, and you will be so appreciative of the woman that God designed you as. And this is for growing girls. This is not for baby girls. This is for girls who are maturing, and I think that is exactly you. Because, let's face it, the world tells our girls all the time that they're much older than what they truly are, and there's some truth to that. But the things that are being forced upon our young girls are not necessarily of God. This is a really amazing opportunity to say to them, hey, let's do this together. I want to be there for this development, and I want you to know that you can count on me to have any conversation. It can be about this, but it can be about other things too.
Thank you so much for that, Andrea. I think that is such a perfect demonstration of the language that moms can walk away with from these workshops. Just that, 30 seconds, minute, just invitation to your daughter beforehand is so helpful to me personally. But just to think now, going with my daughter to one of these cycle prep workshops, just the language I'll have afterwards, just to continue those conversations at home, and how the daughters will walk away excited, maybe, as you mentioned, in awe of their bodies. I think moms will also just feel maybe a little bit more relaxed, and knowing this is how we can approach this, and these are the words we can use, and this is the way that we can have these conversations. So that was really beautiful, the way that you framed that.
It is. I invite moms to rewind and listen to what you said again. That was great.
And it is the good news of the church's teaching, right? I mean, that's what it is, that the gospel message that God created us out of love, and he created us for good, and the plans he has for us are good, and so we can apply that to every aspect of our lives.
Yes. There's a beautiful book by Christina, The Language of Your Body. I'll have to get you guys the link to that, but in it just really demonstrates the generosity in which God made female, the generosity, the sharing in the blood even. I know that might sound strange, but the fact that our body creates this once-in-a-lifetime spot for this once-in-a-lifetime maybe child, and the vast majority, it does not happen. It's a very miraculous feat when it does, but when it doesn't, that visible and physical reminder, it's the reminder that our body created this spot, and there will be no other spot like it. And so it's not going to recycle. That's why when I talk with perimenopausal women or having really bad issues with cycles, like, I just want my period gone. And it is a blessing that your body is still creating that sacred space. But it's a sign that a lot of things are going right. A lot of complicated work is going on within the body, and there's a lot of goodness in that. So
certainly. And I think going back to how you mentioned, ages 9 to 11, initially that can seem so young, but I think on the other side, for moms who might, moms and dads who might be thinking that, imagine your daughter looking at her body and developing this beautiful understanding of her body at age 9, rather than, struggling through those years into the teens, into young adulthood, with not really understanding the reason for her body and the way, what it's doing, and all of those things that can come from a negative understanding of how we're made.
Yeah, completely.
So we have 4 regional sessions for cycle prep coming up. So our listeners kind of understand where we are coming from with this, is that oftentimes both in the Catholic Schools Department and the Faith Formation Office, we will hear from catechists, teachers, parents, so what are we supposed to do for that 5th grade talk? That's often how it's framed. And when we were all made aware of Andrea being so locally located to us, just over there in the Archdiocese of Dubuque, this just presented itself as a perfect opportunity for us to help meet the need of not just the catechists, the teachers, the principals, but even more so the parents, because the parents are the primary educators. So what we've decided to do is to pilot this program in 4 locations in our diocese, in hopes to, help the young girls this year, but also, to plant the seeds maybe for people in those parish communities and those regions of the diocese who might want to come into this work themselves and become more informed about it, and possibly facilitate them in the future. Whether Andrea is a trained facilitator, but there are also options for group viewing through Pearl and Thistle that can be done very easily in our parish communities. So we have 4 sessions coming up. The first one in October at All Saints in the Mars. That's Wednesday, October 22nd. In Holy Trinity in Fort Dodge on Sunday, November 16th in the mid-afternoon. And in that evening, we'll go up to Algona at Divine Mercy on November 16th. Then finally in March, on March 28th, in Carroll at St. John Paul II Parish. So all of those dates are on our website. Those are open to not only parishioners at those parishes, but anybody in the region. So if you're 20 miles down the road and you want to join, you are more than welcome. Each of these sessions is $25 per daughter, and then the mothers and guardians attend for free. We do have a sign up on our website. We'll put the link in the show notes. But through our website, you can also go directly to Andrea's. So we have a link to Andrea's website. And what would they find on your website if they want a little bit more information before registering?
Yeah, they might find a nice little Q&A on what they can come to expect from cycle prep. So some frequently asked questions that they might find on there. And then just my contact information in case they have any questions themselves. If you're dealing with any kinds of cycle symptoms, issues, hormonal imbalances, that type of thing, I'm happy just to, jump on a quick call and talk it through with you. We have really some excellent medical providers, even in the state of Iowa, one that can see anyone in the state of Iowa. Dr. Monica Minger at Radiant Clinic has been phenomenal working with girls. She's NAPRO trained, FEM trained. She's trained in practically every method that there is for a cycle chart. Chart Neo fertility is what it's called. So a really great resource for people. I do want to just quickly mention that parents, we have a workbook for the girls. They get a really great resource that they'll be able to work through, but they also, as a parent, have access to questions to ask your doctor. So, how do you have those conversations with your doctor? What are some other books and recommendations? Dawn, you had mentioned, your mom gave you a book. There's some really great resources out there as supplements as well to further that communication with your daughter.
We'll put in all sorts of links
Yes.
in the show notes to help.
Yeah.
Certainly. Yes. So again, our regional sessions are in Lamars, Fort Dodge, Algona, and Carroll. You can go to our website to find out more information about those details. Any final thoughts, Andrea, on encouragement for mothers and daughters who might be thinking about attending?
I think if you have the least bit inclination within yourself, like, oh man, I should have this conversation, you should just attend. It will be the greatest use of your $25 to attend. It has given birth to a lot of really beautiful conversations with mothers and daughters, and I want that very much for you. I wanted that when I was, 9, 10, 11, and so it's now my mission to make that possible for other mothers and daughters.
So listen up, moms and grandmas. This will help. This will help you have that conversation in those important topics. So what a great resource to have out there, and grateful to Carmen and the Catholic Schools office for bringing that to our families. It's not just a book, not just handing you a book. There's so much more. And I had a question. So let's say you're interested in one of those sessions. How long are the regional sessions?
Yeah, so plan on 2.5 hours, and your jaw might have dropped hearing that, but we have a lot to cover, and we have ample breaks. The girls have like a little arts and crafts activity where they actually design a period bag. It's really cute, fun. So we have lots of really great things built into that. We talk in depth about products and that type of thing. So yeah, plan on 2.5 hours for those workshops.
Okay, that's good. So they know how to schedule that. And again, the schedule will be on there, or you could rewind. Carmen went through all of that. We're just so grateful to just help parents out. I mean, we talk about that with the culture of life and helping moms, and not just helping them make sure they choose life, but hey, here's the helping you raise your daughter. So I'll be sure our daughter is aware of this too. So thank you so much for partnering with the parishes, with the Faith Formation in the Schools office. It's a great offering, just a wonderful tool as mothers and families, as their daughters experience those life changes and understanding those changes in their bodies. We will make a note, but it is scdiocese.org/cycleprep. And yeah, we hope people take advantage of this opportunity. It's just got to help as you raise. It's not easy to raise those kids.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
So thank you also to our listeners, letting us enlighten you about yet another topic of the faith this week. And new episodes drop every Tuesday. So wherever you get your podcast, or go to lumenmedia.org, or even the Diocese of Sioux City YouTube page, and the audio is there as well.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Illuminating Catholics, shedding light to understand the modern church. Follow us for more episodes on topics of the Catholic faith. For more diocesan news, visit lumenmedia.org.